Manchester City hosted Sunderland for their first home game of the 2000-2001 campaign, having been promoted from the Championship. It was City's first home Premiership match for 4 years. Sunderland had made a great start, having beaten Arsenal 1-0 at home in their opening fixture, and were hoping to build on an impressive 7th place finish the previous season. There was a home debut for Liberian international George Weah, a free summer signing from Milan. There were also home debuts for defender Steve Howe and Costa Rican striker Paulo Wanchope. Manager Joe Royle kept faith with the team that had lost their first game 4-0 at Charlton. Sunderland striker Kevin Phillips was the Premiership's leading marksman the previous season, scoring 30 league goals. Peter Reid made 2 changes from the 11 that beat Arsenal. One was enforced. Thomas Sorensen injured in that game, so Jurgen Macho made his first Premiership start for the Black Cats, and Don Hutchison replaced Eric Roy. David Ellery, the man in charge. Your match commentator is John Champion.
If there is a club for whom hope springs eternal at the start of every season, it is surely Manchester City. Always either up or down, but rarely dull. And this their first home Premier League fixture at Main Road for 4 years. Little wonder the Mancunian public have turned out in force. Opened their Premier League campaign with a 4-0 defeat at Charlton, while Sunderland were opening theirs by beating Arsenal through a Niall Quinn goal at the Stadium of Light. So contrasting fortunes, and Sunderland in pretty good shape arriving here in Manchester. Out comes Nicky Weaver. Vargas header. Back goes Steve Howe, former Newcastle man. On by Weah. Too strong for Wanchope. It'll inevitably take a while for those two to get to know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Paulo Wanchope on his home debut. Here's Gerard Vikens. Quinn. Michael Gray. And Gray is halted illegally by Richard Edgehill. These are sides that both know what it's like to be new arrivals in the Premier League. Sunderland, of course, promoted back in 1999 with a record 105 points and having scored 91 goals in winning the First Division title. And they consolidated well enough in their first season in this top flight, finishing 7th last year. Edgehill. Guided back to the goalkeeper by Chris Makin. Jurgen Macho standing in for the injured Thomas Sorensen, whose knee problem hasn't yet responded to treatment. Pryor. Thirlwell beaten off it. And here is George Weah. And Wanchope with a chance and a goal! 4 minutes into his home debut, Paulo Wanchope on the score sheet for Manchester City. And there is something about Manchester that brings out the best in the Costa Rican. If you recall his spectacular debut in English football for Derby at Old Trafford. Here's Varga. Now Gray. Manchester City looking pretty comfortable with their 3 centre-backs. 3 in midfield, Haaland, Horlock and Kennedy. And here comes Mark Kennedy, held off by Macon this time. But it's a formation that Joe Royle feels can work for them. Beacons directing matters. Pryor is forward for this, so too is Steve Howie. Kennedy delivers these well with his left foot. And up goes Pryor. And Varga, in front of his own post, did well to repel that. Powerful header by Spencer Pryor. Macon. Off goes Kevin Phillips. And he'll follow the back pass in. Pryor. Tiato. Hutchison. And a foul by Spencer Pryor, who gives everything for the Manchester City cause, but has given a bit too much to Kevin Kilban. And despite the arm draped around David Ellery's neck, it is a yellow card. Butler amongst those coming forward for the set piece, over which stand Thirlwell and Kilban. Delivered by Kevin Kilban, and in the end Nicky Weaver relieved that it was overclubbed slightly. Manchester City, the runners-up in the First Division last season, their second consecutive promotion. Joe Royle has dragged them up from the third tier of English football back to a place at the top table. Pryor. Where? And now one chop. And there's Haaland! Alfie Haaland for Manchester City. And as with the first goal, the new man George Ware was at the heart of it. An assist too for Paulo Wanchope. And the Austrian macho is beaten for a second time. Peter Reid, who spent 3 seasons here as manager of Manchester City. Not so far a happy return. Hutchison. Muscled by Haaland. A probing ball for Kennedy. And he's beyond Macon. And Kennedy! Oh! Arriving at pace was Paulo Wanchope. At such pace, in fact, that he just couldn't steer the ball inside the post. But Manchester City are playing some super football. Referee on the spot to award the free kick in favour of Niall Quinn. Hutchison. And the threat of Phillips and Quinn being quelled by Manchester City so far. Gray. Veekins. Wanchope. That's nice. Edgehill. Where? And again. Now Wanchope, and for a third time, George Ware. And then a free kick. Studs were showing in the tackle. A disagreement involving Hutchison and Horlock, two of the more combustible characters out there. And David Ellery going to his pocket for Don Hutchison. There was an air of recklessness about the tackle. Born, I think, more of frustration than anything else. Sunderland's inability to get the ball. This is just about within range if they wish to go direct. Put to the left foot of Kennedy, the right of Haaland. 5 in the Sunderland wall with Vikins there to confuse. Horlock also in contention to take this. But it'll be Kennedy. And the wall stood firm. Manchester City showing plenty of vim and vigour in this early season fixture. No hangover from that thumping at Charlton at the weekend. Where? Not even Paolo Wanchope can collect his own through ball. George Ware's having a major effect on Manchester City. His reputation goes before him. A galvanising presence. Varga missed his kick. Clearances by Macho. That's the midway point, greeted by a huge roar from the Manchester City crowd. A goal apiece for Wanchope and for Haaland, and Manchester City lead 2-0. Haaland. It's Varga. Kennedy. Now Ware. Horlock up. Pity about the cross. There were 2 men free inside the box for City. Now Kennedy. Strong challenge by Macon. Vikins, caught late. It's a free kick. And Manchester City starting the second period very much as they finished the first. In possession and largely in control. Kennedy with the arm up, it's Horlock who takes it. Now the header, enough to concern Jurgen Macho from Steve Howie. Like Ware, like Wanchope making his home debut. Gray. Thwarted by Edgehill. Michael Gray did well to get a cross in. Kilban. Gray. Phillips. This is patient from Sunderland. And it brings a corner. Such a famous history, Sunderland. 6 times winners of the old league championship. But not since 1936. In fact, 7th last season was their best finish for many a long year. Goalkeeper stays at home, comes to Phillips, 30 goals last season for Kevin Phillips. He's a sharpshooter. Gray. The early ball in towards Quinn. And therein lies the threat for Manchester City. Phillips and Quinn, between them, plundered 44 goals last season. And in the Premier League, the rest of the Sunderland team, between them, only managed 13. Kilban. Beacons. Corner prevented by the diligence of Chiata. Butler's header. Sunderland making slow progress down that far flank. Kilban. Three waiting, there's Quinn, and Sunderland have a goal back. Niall Quinn scores against his old club. And suddenly Sunderland have some hope in this game. Classic centre-forward's header. There's a push in the back by Wanchop and Steve Bold. Strange to see Bold in red and white, other than that of Arsenal. Kilban. Noticeably more confidence about Sunderland now. Beacons in the way. Once more, Kevin Kilban. How he missed it! Phillips didn't! And Kevin Phillips draws Sunderland level. It's 2 in 3 minutes for the men from Wearside. And from a point in the game where they appeared to be going precisely nowhere, now they are very much somewhere. Haaland. Game to be won again for Manchester City. Isn't that so often the way with them? Nothing is ever straightforward. Beacons. Edgehill. Where's layoff? For Wanchop! A nice height for the goalkeeper, Macho. But it was travelling nonetheless. Edgehill. Put in Hope. And it falls for Wanchop. And Manchester City have their noses back in front. A goal that is hardly an object of great beauty. There's an element of Route 1 to it. Ball pumped forward long and high. We're there to cause confusion, and Wanchop to score his second. And what must Sunderland be feeling now, having done the hard work to haul themselves back on terms from 2 goals down, and now facing a deficit once more. Phillips in front of Pryor. Quinn. And out comes Nicky Weaver. Oh, and then a spot of pushing and shoving involving Hutchison and Edgehill. Neither of them used to taking a backward step, but Edgehill's shove of Hutchison particularly ill-advised, especially with a relatively hard-line referee in control in David Ellery. Strictly, it could be interpreted as violent conduct, and that's a red card offence. Both Edgehill and Hutchison do have track records where indiscipline is concerned. And I think that David Ellery is in one of his slightly more lenient moods. And it's a school masterly lecture rather than cards. Would have been within his rights. Would be far harsher. Peter Reid has done such a good job with Sunderland, showed qualities that he was never allowed to show in his 3 years with Manchester City. It's a push by Haaland. Manchester City can ill afford to give away free kicks. Butler joining Quinn and Bold, so there's plenty of height, plenty of power in the air. And Hutchison fools Edgehill. Howie's header. Phillips, who is a live wire, and Edgehill slides in. Beacons. And Bold whipped it away from one shot, but to no great effect. And Manchester City counter through Weaver's long throw. One chop. Kennedy. Crowd like what they're seeing of Paolo Wanchop. Here's Weir. Good block by Macho, who was very rapidly off his line. And Sunderland living dangerously. They're having to commit men forward in search of the equaliser. Haaland. Here's Wanchop. There's a hat-trick! On his home debut, Paolo Wanchop gets 3. And surely now, with just a couple of minutes to play, ensures victory for Manchester City. Just over £3.5 million they paid to West Ham for the services of the enigmatic Costa Rican. And here's the first dividend on the investment. Tiato. Edgehill. Sunderland have fought hard, they did well to get back to 2-2. Now they're in danger of conceding again. Here's Wanchop. And Kennedy. And he rather sliced the cross. But Manchester City have finished very strongly in the last quarter of an hour. Joe Royle became City's 5th manager in 3 years when he took over. But he's provided stability. Referee having another look at his watch. And drawing proceedings to a close. 6 goals, 4 of them to Manchester City, 3 of them scored by their new Costa Rican striker, Paolo Wanchop, from whom great things are expected, and he's delivered pretty much immediately.
A frantic game settled by Paolo Wanchop's home debut hat-trick.